Thanks, Jen. There are reports of illegal cluster bombs and vacuum bombs being used by the Russians. If that's true, what is the next step of this administration, and is there a red line for how much violence will be tolerated against civilians in this manner that's illegal and potentially a war crime?
It would be. I don't have any confirmation of that. We have seen the reports. If that were true, it would potentially be a war crime. Obviously, there are a range of international fora that would assess that. So certainly we would look to that to be a part of that conversation.
And then the new aid that you just laid out at the beginning here, the Post reported over the weekend that this aid will not include stingers, that it would likely come in a future batch of aid. What is the reason for that?
I'm not going to get into specifics of what is in the military package. It is a combination of ground and airborne defense capabilities, and obviously we have provided those in the past, but I'm not going to have more details to outline for you from here.
You mentioned that this next batch is going to be coming in the next few days. Why so long? I mean, days doesn't sound like a long time to us, but
the package that we had already announced continues to be delivered. So we have expedited the plans for delivery of this new package.
And then on the nuclear rhetoric we've been hearing from Putin, does this influence at all the upcoming nuclear policy review?
In terms of how our relationship with, look, I would think it's a good question, Jacqui, but I would say what's important for people to note, and this is why I noted it a little bit earlier, is that even at moments where we had huge tension with President Putin and Russia around the 2016 election, around invasion of Georgia, around their prior invasion of Ukraine, it was agreed that escalatory rhetoric around nuclear ambitions was dangerous, and that was something we committed to with Russia not to pursue. So, I think for right now, we're going to remind the global community of those commitments.
And on that same note, does this administration trust Russia to be an honest broker in the talks with Iran right now?
Well, I think it's not about trust in any of these negotiations or discussions. It's about verifying and then trusting later, including with the Iranians. But the Russians have been in the past a part of the P5+1 negotiations. They're a part of it now. I would just convey that it is in everyone's interest to have an understanding and visibility into Iran's capacity to acquire a nuclear weapon. There's no question about that. So at this point, we're just continuing to hope to make progress on that agreement.
And then after all of this, what is the stance of the U.S. and buying Russian gas at this point? At this point, are we ready to pledge not to buy any more Russian gas?
Well, as you know, it's really. Let me give you actually kind of an update on this because I think there's been a little confusion. One moment. So as it relates to Russian gas, U.S. government doesn't dictate where the U.S. market sells our own oil and gas products, nor where it acquires crude or refined products for domestic consumption. This is all up to the private sector, other than exceptions like countries under sanctions. So the U.S. refiners currently importing Russian products are largely legacy refinery operations tooled in Hawaii and Alaska for certain supplies because of geography, and imports to the Gulf, both of certain refined products and of crude, as refiners in the Gulf mix crude supplies to meet the needs of their particular refinery designs. There have been companies, obviously private sector companies, who have made decisions and announcements, and we certainly applaud that.
So, can you just explain, though, what you laid out at the beginning? Because I'm a little bit unclear. You just in layman's terms, we are not going to be making any policy from the U.S. government that would prohibit the sale or the purchase of Russian gas, then, because it's not something that we already do?
We haven't ruled out that, but I think what I wanted to convey is what is accurate about what happens now and how it currently works.